I know what silence sounds like when it carries weight. The kind that presses down on your chest until breathing feels like a choice you have to remember to make. I'd been living in that silence for 3 days. 3 days since we buried Sarah. 3 days since I stood in front of a mahogany casket and pretended I knew how to say goodbye to 35 years of marriage. The grief was there, heavy and familiar, settling into my bones like winter cold. But there was something else, too. Something that started the morning after the funeral, when my phone rang at 6:47 a.m., unknown number, Portland area code. I almost didn't answer. "Mr. Thompson?" The voice was professional, careful. "This is David Chen. I was your wife's attorney." I sat up in bed, the sheets still tangled from another restless night. "Sarah's attorney? I thought we used Morrison and Associates for our will." "We did. I mean, you do." He paused, and I heard papers rustling. "I handled some private matters for Sarah, things she kept separate. She gave me specific instructions about when to contact you." My hand tightened around the phone. "What kind of matters?" "I'd rather not discuss this over the phone. Could you come to my office this morning, say 9 o'clock? Another pause, longer this time. "And Mr. Thompson, please don't mention this to anyone. Not yet. Especially not your daughter or son-in-law." That's when the weight in my chest shifted. Became something different. Something that felt like dread. I arrived at Chen's office at 8:45, too anxious to wait. The building was one of those renovated warehouses in the Pearl District, all exposed brick and industrial windows. His office was on the 3rd floor, and when the elevator doors opened, I saw him standing there in the hallway, waiting for me. David Chen was younger than I expected. Early 40s maybe. Wire-rimmed glasses, navy suit, the kind of composed expression that probably took years to perfect. "Mr. Thompson." He extended his hand. "Thank you for coming so quickly." I followed him into his office. It was neat, organized, no family photos on the desk, the kind of space that belonged to someone who kept other people's secrets. He gestured to a chair across from his desk, then sat down and pulled a slim folder from his drawer. On top of the folder was a small black USB drive. "Sarah came to see me 6 months ago," he said. "She was very clear about what she wanted. She made me promise not to contact you unless—" He stopped, adjusted his glasses. "Unless something happened to her." 6 months ago. I did the math. August. She'd been diagnosed in July, right after the cancer diagnosis. "Yes." He slid the USB drive across the desk toward me. "She recorded everything on here. Security camera footage, videos she took on her phone, documents she scanned. She wanted you to see it all. But she made me promise you'd watch it alone first." I stared at the small black device. "Footage of what?" Chen's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "Pity, maybe. Or anger. Your daughter, Emily, and her husband, Brad. What they did, what they've been doing." The room suddenly felt too small, too warm. "What are you talking about?" "Mr. Thompson, I think you should watch the videos before we discuss this further. But I need to warn you. What's on here, it's going to be difficult to see. Sarah wanted you to know the truth, but she also wanted to protect you for as long as she could." I picked up the USB drive. It was so light, couldn't have weighed more than a few grams. Strange how something so small could feel so heavy. "She set up cameras?" I asked. "In your home? Yes. Hidden ones. Also, she kept her phone recording during certain conversations." He tapped the folder on his desk. "Everything is backed up here too. Along with bank statements, forged documents, text messages she recovered from Emily's old laptop." "Forged documents?" Chen opened the folder, pulled out a paper, slid it across to me. It was a quitclaim deed for our house, the house Sarah and I had lived in for 28 years. My signature was at the bottom. Except it wasn't my signature. It was close, but the capital M in Marcus was wrong. Too looped. "According to county records, you transferred ownership of your home to Emily Thompson Bradford 6 weeks ago," Chen said quietly. "Of course, you didn't actually sign this. Your daughter's husband did. He's quite good at forgery, apparently. Did it for a living before he got his real estate license." I stared at my not signature. My hands had started shaking. That's impossible. We would have known. The bank, the mortgage company. The house was paid off 15 years ago. No mortgage. The transfer was filed quietly. And because Brad works in real estate, he knew exactly how to make it look legitimate. Chen pulled out another document. Here's where it gets worse. 3 months ago, Emily used a power of attorney, also forged, to access your retirement accounts. She's been making withdrawals. Small ones at first, then larger. So far, approximately $130,000 is gone. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the desk. Your wife discovered all of this by accident, Chen continued. She was looking for tax documents in Emily's old bedroom. You'd been storing papers there and found a laptop Emily had left behind. Sarah was going to return it, but it was unlocked. She saw the files. After that, she started paying attention, recording things. I couldn't speak, couldn't form words. Emily, my little girl, the one I'd taught to ride a bike, walked down the aisle 2 years ago, trusted with my life. Watch the videos, Chen said gently. Then come back tomorrow. We'll talk about what to do next. I drove home on autopilot. The house was empty. It had been empty since Sarah died, but now it felt haunted. I kept seeing Emily everywhere. 8 years old, in her soccer uniform. 16, crying about her first heartbreak. 22, graduating college. Me so proud I couldn't stop smiling. I set up my laptop at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten thousands of meals as a family. I plugged in the USB drive. There were folders, dozens of them, labeled by date. I started with the oldest one, August 19th. The video opened on our living room. The angle was from up high, probably a camera hidden in the bookshelf. Sarah was on the couch, pale and thin. The chemo had already started taking its toll. Emily sat across from her in the armchair. I turned up the volume. Mom, I really need your help with this. Emily's voice was strained, urgent. Brad's company is going under. We're about to lose everything. Honey, your father and I already gave you $15,000 last year. That's not enough. Emily leaned forward. We need at least $50,000, maybe more. The investors are threatening to sue. Sarah shook her head slowly. We don't have that kind of money, Liquid. Everything is tied up in retirement accounts. And your father, Dad, doesn't need to know. Emily's voice dropped lower. You could take it out. Just sign the papers. Tell him it was for medical bills or something. I'm not going to lie to your father. Jesus. Mom. Emily stood up, started pacing. You're dying anyway. What does it matter? At least this way. Something good could come out of it. You'd be helping your daughter, your grandchildren. We don't have grandchildren, Emily. Not yet, but we will. And how are we supposed to raise kids if we're bankrupt? Emily's face twisted into something ugly. Something I'd never seen before. You know what? Forget it. You've always been selfish. Always put Dad first. Never thought about what I needed. The video ended. I sat there, staring at the black screen. That conversation had happened 4 months ago. Sarah never mentioned it, never said a word. I opened the next video, September 3rd, our bedroom. Emily was there alone, going through Sarah's jewelry box. She pocketed a diamond bracelet, the one I'd given Sarah for our 30th anniversary, then moved to my dresser. She opened my wallet, photographed my driver's license and social security card with her phone. Another video, September 20th, kitchen. Brad was with Emily this time. They were looking at papers spread across our kitchen counter. Did you get his signature? Brad asked. Close enough. Emily held up a piece of paper. I traced it from that birthday card he sent me. It's not perfect, but it'll work. And your mom? She's upstairs resting. I gave her the strong pain pills. She'll be out for hours. Brad kissed her. You're brilliant. You know that? Once we get the house transferred, we can take out an equity line of credit. Nobody will know until it's too late. What about when she dies? Dad will find out eventually. Brad shrugged. By then, we'll have the money moved offshore. We'll be in Mexico before he can do anything about it. They laughed. Both of them laughed. I closed the laptop, ran to the bathroom, threw up until there was nothing left. For an hour, I sat on the bathroom floor, my back against the cold tile, trying to understand, trying to make sense of how the daughter I'd raised could become this This stranger, this thief, this person who called her dying mother selfish. But I had to keep watching. Sarah had recorded this for a reason. She wanted me to know everything. I went back to the laptop. There were more videos. So many more. October 2nd. Emily visiting while I was at the grocery store. She went through Sarah's medications, switched the labels on 2 bottles. I watched in horror as she put Sarah's heart medication in the bottle labeled for nausea pills, and the nausea pills in the heart medication bottle. If she takes the wrong dose at the wrong time, Emily muttered to herself, filming on her phone like she was documenting a science experiment, it could speed things up. Nobody would question it. She's already sick. October 15th. Brad, in our home office, using my computer. He was accessing my bank accounts, using passwords he must have found written down somewhere. I watched him transfer money in small increments. 500 here, 1,000 there. Amounts small enough to avoid immediate attention. November 8th. Just 3 weeks ago, Emily was with Sarah in the living room. Sarah looked terrible. Gray skin, barely able to sit up. Emily handed her a glass of water and pills. "What are these?" Sarah's voice was weak. "Your heart medication, Mom. The blue pills." "Those aren't blue. Those are white." The pharmacy changed the manufacturer. "It's the same medication." Emily's voice was patient, soothing. The voice you'd use with a confused child. Sarah took the pills. I watched her swallow them with shaking hands. That was when I realized what I was seeing. Emily wasn't just stealing from us. She was killing her mother. The last video was dated November 16th, 5 days before Sarah died. The camera was in Sarah's bedroom. She must have set it up herself. She was alone, propped up on pillows, her phone in her shaking hands. She was recording a message. For me, Marcus. Her voice was barely a whisper. "If you're watching this, then I'm gone. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I wanted to. God, I wanted to tell you every day. But I couldn't do that to you. I couldn't make you watch your daughter destroy us while I was still here." She stopped, coughing. When she spoke again, tears were streaming down her face. Emily is not the person we thought she was. Maybe she never was. Maybe we were too blind to see it, too busy loving her to notice what she was becoming. But Marcus, you need to protect yourself now. The lawyer has all the evidence. Chen will help you. Please, please don't let her get away with this. She reached forward, and the video ended. I sat at that kitchen table until the sun set, until the room was dark and I couldn't see the screen anymore. Then I called David Chen. "I watched them," I said. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else, someone old and broken. All of them. "I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson. What do I do now?" There was a long pause. Sarah gave me very specific instructions. She wanted to make sure Emily couldn't touch anything else. "We'll need to move quickly." The next morning, I met Chen at a coffee shop downtown. He brought a thick folder and a woman I didn't recognize. She was in her 50s, blonde hair pulled back, sharp eyes. "This is Detective Karen Walsh," Chen said. "She specializes in elder abuse and financial crimes." We sat in a back corner booth. Detective Walsh opened her laptop, and we went through everything. Every video, every forged document, every fraudulent transaction. She took notes, asked questions, her expression growing grimmer with each answer. "This is a clear case of elder abuse, financial exploitation, and potential attempted murder," she said finally. "The medication switching alone could be prosecuted as assault with intent. The forged documents are felonies. We have more than enough to press charges." "How long will it take?" I asked. "We'll need to verify everything, get warrants for their financial records, interview witnesses. A few weeks? Maybe a month?" She looked at me carefully. "Mr. Thompson, I need to ask, does your daughter know you're aware of any of this?" "No." "Good. Keep it that way. If she suspects we're investigating, she and her husband will run. We need to catch them off guard." For the next 3 weeks, I lived a double life. During the day, I played the grieving widower. I accepted casseroles from neighbors, attended a grief support group at the library, sorted through Sarah's clothes like a man in a fog. When Emily called, which she did, 3 or 4 times a week, I answered. I let her play the concerned daughter. How are you holding up, Dad? I'm okay, honey. Taking it one day at a time. Do you need anything? Brad and I could come over, help you with stuff around the house. No. I'm managing. Every conversation felt like swallowing glass. But I did it. For Sarah. For justice. Behind the scenes, Detective Walsh was building her case. She got warrants, traced the money, interviewed the bank employees who'd processed the fraudulent withdrawals, talked to the county recorder who'd filed the forged deed. Chen, meanwhile, was working on Sarah's actual will, the real one, the one Emily didn't know existed. She changed it 2 months before she died, he told me. Everything goes to you, as expected. But there's a provision for Emily. He slid the document across his desk. I read it 3 times to make sure I was seeing it correctly. $1, I said. $1, Chen confirmed, with a note explaining exactly why. Sarah wanted Emily to know that she knew, that she saw everything. What about the rest? The house, the retirement accounts that are left, everything it's yours to do with as you please. But Sarah made a suggestion. He pulled out another document. She proposed establishing a foundation, an education fund for kids from low-income families in Portland. She wanted it named after her mother, Elizabeth Reeves. I looked at the proposal Sarah had written. Pages of plans, ideas, dreams for helping kids get to college. Kids like the ones I'd taught for 30 years before retiring. Kids who deserve chances. She thought of everything. I whispered. She loved you very much, Mr. Thompson. And she wanted to make sure Emily couldn't destroy what you two built together. On December 14th, Detective Walsh called me at 7 in the morning. We're executing the warrants today. Don't come to the house. Stay somewhere public. I'll call you when it's done. I went to the coffee shop near Chen's office, sat by the window with a newspaper I couldn't read. My phone rang at 10:30. It's done, Walsh said. They're both in custody. We arrested them at your house. They were there going through your mail. Looking for what? Bank statements, probably. Making sure their tracks were covered. I could hear satisfaction in her voice. Emily's being charged with elder abuse, financial exploitation, forgery, identity theft, and attempted murder. Brad's getting similar charges plus conspiracy. The DA thinks we have a solid case. Attempted murder. I said the words out loud, testing them. You can prove that? The medication switching, combined with the texts we found on Emily's phone discussing timeline and inheritance, yes. We can prove she was trying to accelerate your wife's death. I closed my eyes. What happens now? Arraignment tomorrow. Then we go from there. I didn't go to the arraignment. I couldn't. Chen went for me, said Emily, looked shocked, kept insisting it was all a misunderstanding. Brad, apparently, tried to blame everything on her. Said she'd manipulated him, threatened him. Classic. The trial didn't happen for another 4 months. Chen told me Emily's lawyer tried everything, suppressing evidence, claiming the videos were taken illegally, arguing Sarah was mentally incompetent when she recorded them. Nothing worked. I attended the trial, sat in the back row, and watched my daughter lie on the stand. Watched her cry, play the victim, insist she was just trying to help us, that Sarah had agreed to everything, that I was confused in my grief, turning innocent actions into sinister plots. The jury didn't believe her. Guilty on all counts. Both of them. Sentencing was 3 weeks later. Emily got 12 years. Brad got 15. The judge called it a profound betrayal of trust and elder abuse of the most calculated and cruel nature. Emily turned around as they let her out, looked right at me. "Dad," she called out. "Dad, please. I'm sorry. I'll pay it back. All of it. Just tell them I'm sorry." I didn't say anything, just watched as the bailiff took her through the door. Chen approached me in the hallway afterward. "The will reading is tomorrow morning. Are you sure you want me to do this?" I nodded. Sarah wanted her to know. The next day, we met at Chen's office. Emily's public defender was there, looking exhausted. Chen opened the will, read through the standard provisions, then got to Emily's inheritance. "To my daughter, Emily Thompson Bradford, I leave the sum of $1. This nominal bequest is intentional. Emily knows why. The lawyer looked up, confused. Chen handed him a sealed envelope. "This is from Sarah. Written instructions that Emily be given this letter." I'd already read it. Sarah had shown me before she died, or rather, left it for me to find in her recordings. The letter explained everything. Every betrayal, every lie, every moment Sarah had watched her daughter choose greed over love. It ended with a single line. "I hope $1 reminds you every day of what you traded your family for." I left Portland a week later, rented a small cabin in Bend, in the mountains Sarah had always loved. We'd talked about retiring there, hiking the trails, watching the seasons change. I hiked them alone that spring, scattered her ashes at a viewpoint overlooking the Cascade Range, told her about the foundation we were starting, about the first scholarships that would go out in her name. I didn't think about Emily much. When I did, I tried to remember the little girl she'd been, the one who brought me dandelions and called them flowers, the one who cried when her goldfish died. I tried to separate that child from the woman who poisoned her mother for inheritance money. Some days I could do it. Most days I couldn't. The Elizabeth Reeves Education Foundation gave out its first scholarships that fall. 20 kids, full rides to community college or trade schools. Kids who reminded me why I'd become a teacher in the first place. I teach again now. Volunteer at the community college in Bend. English and basic math. Kids who are working their way up, who appreciate every opportunity. Sometimes they ask if I have children. I tell them I had a daughter once. That's all I say. It's not a lie. Exactly. I did have a daughter. I don't anymore. That person is gone. Maybe she never really existed. Sarah knew. That's what I hold on to. In those last months, when she was documenting everything, gathering evidence, building the case, she knew she had to protect me. Even from death, she was still taking care of me. The $1 sits in my desk drawer. I never gave it to Emily. She never asked for it. But I keep it there, in an envelope with Sarah's letter. A reminder that love isn't enough sometimes. That trust can be weaponized. That the people who should protect you can be the ones who hurt you most. I'm 62 years old. I thought by now I'd understand how the world works, how people work. But I'm learning that maybe we never really know anyone. Not completely. We just hold on to our best guesses and hope we're not proven wrong. Sarah was proven wrong. But she was also proven right. Right to document everything. Right to trust Chen. Right to believe I'd want the truth, no matter how much it hurt. I visit her grave every Sunday. Tell her about the foundation, about the kids we're helping. I think she'd be proud. I hope she knows that her last act, exposing Emily, protecting me, creating something good out of all that pain mattered. The grief doesn't go away. Neither does the betrayal. They sit together in my chest, two different weights that I've learned to carry. Some days are harder than others, but I keep moving forward. Because that's what Sarah would want. That's what she fought for in those final weeks. $1, one daughter, one devastating truth. But also, 35 years of real love. A foundation that will help hundreds of kids. A life that meant something. I choose to focus on that. Most days, anyway. It's enough.